Hi, my name is Christy and welcome to Masterclass Magic. What I'm going to go over with you today are the 7 steps that you can very easily implement to create high converting classes. So let me go ahead and share my screen. This way you will be able to kind of follow along and see what I am talking about. So here we go. Masterclass Magic. I'm not going to go into like who I am because I'm just kind of assuming by now that if you found this class, you know that I am the president and the founder of the Dynamic Professional Women's Network, and you're kind of going through this class to see how you can be one of our featured experts and share your masterclass. And honestly, that is why I created this class, so then all of our presenters are kind of fully engaged and fully informed on how they can create and present the best masterclass ever. Okay, so why would anybody want to create a masterclass? So part of what we are doing to build our business is we are doing things to be able to show our value, get more exposure, get more clients, and honestly, make more money. And it's okay to admit that we want to make more money, because if we don't make money, we can't keep doing what we're doing. So we do master classes as a client attraction strategy. We put them together in a way that is going to teach, and it's going to invite your clients, which are prospects at the time, to want to engage with you further. There are a few things about master classes that you have to recognize. Is they need to be free. There's absolutely no selling, or at least on the master classes we share, and you can create a free offer, but we don't want you to sell. So why have a master class? Now, of course, we kind of talked about what master classes are about, but we want to really utilize master classes as a way to elevate our expert status, especially if we are a coach, speaker, consultant, author, influencer, anything where we are looking to share our message and our mastery in a bigger way in the world to help more people. And just a little bit about, not necessarily who I am, but the Dynamic Professional Women's Network is a very dynamic, engaged, loyal community of women that focus on building strong relationships together. We started off to be a networking organization, but we've gone on to be something much more. We are a sisterhood of loyal and ambitious women who realize that we can do great things alone, but we can do things much better and faster with the support of other women. So we do have local chapters in multiple states. And so if you're interested in getting plugged in that way, that's great. But we also have a very dynamic online community that, depending on when you're watching this masterclass, we could be in the beginning stages of that launch. We've been around for 13 years in general, but as far as our online community, it is kind of a whole new venture. So it could be fairly new in that process, or you may be watching this training years down the road, because I'm creating this to be very evergreen, and I'm going to share a little bit about what that means if you don't know. But my overall vision is to create a resource for women so they don't necessarily have to go anywhere else. Because for me, for a lot of my members, a lot of my clients, doing market research, what I have found over and over again by people's responses is that they are kind of confused at all of the options out there. A lot of the things they see are noise, and they tend to get very distracted. And I'm just like that. I kind of definitely have that shiny object syndrome, or squirrel moments, where I'll be kind of cruising through Facebook and, just kind of doing my business, because I do a lot of work through Facebook. But then I see something, and could be an ad that somebody has or a post that somebody created, and I'm like, wow, that's really good. And so I look at it, I kind of do a little research on how their funnel process is put together, and how everything is all kind of been created for that particular, mostly for Facebook ads is what I'm talking about. But the bottom line is I get distracted and I start researching and thinking, oh, I can do this for my business. And, if I did that all the time, I could basically spend every day, all day, just going down different avenues. And what I'm trying to do is unite a community of women that want to learn from experts and a community of experts that want to teach women who want to learn, and then have various levels in between. But it's really all about creating a one-stop shop of different teachers providing teaching on their various areas of expertise, and community of women supporting each other and uniting and holding each other accountable, being mentors for each other, advisors, referral partners, support sisters, everything. So, my goal for the last 16 years, actually, since 2003, has been to help women build stronger businesses. And now that I'm venturing into the online world, the options are limitless. So I hope you stay with us on that journey. I hope you engage. I hope you find this class to be very helpful. And more importantly, I hope you get plugged in on a deeper level in our community so you can create that change that I am looking to help people do with their businesses. Okay, so enough with that. Let me go to my next slide. And this is an example of 2 of our master classes that we have coming up. It's our very first ones that we've done. And these are with women who have a certain area of expertise. We're not looking to feature women who are new in their business. We want to make sure that they have a long history of success before they teach to our client base. And so these 2 women definitely fit the bill. And basically what we've done is we help them produce, market, implement an online event, do a lot to create energy around their event, and then produce it in a way that they actually have a finished project that they can use going forward in their business. So you can find all of our events in our featured event section on our website, on our calendar, and that is where we are going to be featuring more experts. We call them our mentor experts with their masterclasses. Okay, so just to let you know, if you are considering joining us as a teacher, we do have a few ground rules. Some of them I already mentioned, but I want to make sure I reiterate them. Basically, that you will be offering a free class. You will not be selling in your class. You can share a free offer, and I'm going to talk about some of those options in a little moment. We need them to be evergreen. We want you to submit all of the details about your class with the application process. We do not want to be chasing you down, hunting down your headshot or your bio or anything that we may need for your class. And then you will need to follow up. If there is a process that you have in place for prospects to engage with you, we definitely don't want to have somebody reaching out to us and say that they contacted you and then you never got back to them. So we really want you to be a trusted long-term advisor in our community, and that is a little bit of a responsibility on your part to make sure that you follow these specific ground rules. And they're simple. You wouldn't think I would have to mention them, but I actually do, because already in some of the things we've done in the past, these have been some of the issues that we've run across. So we want you to become and remain a valuable asset in our community. Okay, so I promised you I would share 7 steps to help you create a high converting masterclass. And step number 1 is we really need to focus on your area of expertise. And so I really love to share the starfish story. And I'm going to give you a really brief rundown, but it is a story about an old man walking down the beach with a younger woman coming across him and seeing him throwing in starfish. And with curiosity, she comes up and asks him why on earth would he be picking up starfish and throwing them into the ocean. And I share this story with my leadership team because they are dedicated to helping every woman in their community. And when this young girl asks this older man why he's throwing starfish in the ocean, it's because that even though there are miles and miles of starfish and miles and miles of ocean, he picks up one starfish, throws it in, and says, you know what? There are a lot of them, but I am very happy to help that one. And that's just a little story to convey that every person matters and that we really need to be very specific in trying to figure out how we can help that one person, that one particular starfish that has a certain need that you can meet. So it really is about defining who your ideal client avatar is so you can show up and help them in the very, very strongest way. And I like to equate that to a handgun and a shotgun. There could be a bear coming at you and you could pick up a shotgun and you could shoot them, and then all of the shotgun pellets are going to spray out and hit them, but it's probably not going to do a lot of damage. But if you have a handgun and it's one particular bullet that hits that bear, it is going to be a little bit more impactful than that wide shotgun spray. So what we want to do is we want to make sure, this is just kind of some of the basics before you even put your class together, but we want to make sure that you've defined your target market, you define what their struggle is, you know what your one solution is, and you know how to help them get their dream outcome. So it's really all about them on their personal journey of transformation that you can provide based on your area of expertise, your wisdom, your message, and your mastery. So with your class, basically what you're doing is you realize that your class is just one of the components of your bigger marketing strategy. You definitely want to share your wisdom. You want to provide support, and you want to focus on the results that you're going to provide them. And sometimes we have a hard time focusing on that perspective. I work with a lot of my book writing clients and helping them self-publish their books or sharing their story. And sometimes if you're a teacher, if you're a coach, if you're a consultant, you get this because you realize it's all about your clients. But sometimes if somebody is just jumping into the teaching piece of it, they know their area of expertise, but they don't necessarily know how to share it very well. Say it's a social media strategist and they've done a great job helping their clients over and over throughout the years. They have these great strategies. They know how to get the results, but they don't necessarily know how to teach. And that's the piece that we really have to focus on is what are the results we are going to provide our clients. So step one is share your wisdom. Step two, provide support. And step three is focus on the results. Okay. So this is the formula that I really, really focus on. And it's about sharing your story, sharing your proprietary system, and that will help you get a profitable brand. And why am I sharing all this? Because the masterclass is one little piece of the puzzle. It's what you're going to use to bring people in to help you build your expert brand. And once you figure out what that is, what your proprietary focus is you will then be creating a whole inventory or a whole toolkit of different resources that you can provide to support your clients. Whether that is a book, whether it's a course, whether it's to speak on a platform, whether it's to speak online. Could be in your coaching program or your training program. But you basically take your signature message, then you create your signature book, your signature course, your signature story, your signature chapter in a book, your signature training, everything about that one area of expertise. And this is what your masterclass is going to do. It's going to funnel people into these different pieces based on what your customer journey is laid out and how that is defined. Okay, so number 2 is your business model, and that's where all of these pieces come together. It's like having a building. Actually, let me back up. It's like having a building. You can't go out and like put on the roof without laying the foundation, and you can't put up the second story without having the foundation for the first story and all the pillars in place. So you've got to put all the pieces together in order. So this is kind of a really simple business model that will help you kind of determine how you can put your business offerings together. And sometimes when it's a new person jumping into a coaching, speaking, consultant business, they start by doing one-on-one work, and they start doing coaching and working with coaching clients on an hourly basis. And as a new coach, it is important to do that because that's going to help you get experience, and it's going to help you really refine your focus, refine your area of expertise, really refine your systems and your teachings and all of your proprietary systems. It's going to help you like really become super clear on that. It's almost like getting paid to do market research. But your end result is to have your one-on-one interaction be for your high-end clients where they're paying you a lot of money for that one-on-one time. And then down below, your mass support that you can provide people is your it's your low priced items, usually under $100. And that is where you help many people at one time on a very economical version, and you can scale. So you doing a training to help 10 people takes the same amount of energy to do the same training to help 100 or even 1,000 people. So if you have a class at $50, so you're doing a $50, 3-hour training class on something very, very niche specific. They have handouts and all these great resources, and you're charging, let's say $100. You put that out there, you do your marketing, you do it one time, you do it live, you record it, you get 100 people on that call. Just let's say you get 10 people on that call because it's the very first time you've done it and you just want to get something out there. I honestly say you build the plane while you fly it. But you do that first one, it goes really well, you practice, you feel that you've got it down really, really, like you've got it down, you delivered a really great presentation. So then you did it for those 10 people, you got $1,000. Now you want to do it again, put a little bit of that money into marketing or put it all into marketing. So that way you can do that training in an evergreen process so people are watching that in an automated way without you even being there. They opt into a webinar, they watch a short little training to see why they want to buy your class. They buy your class for $100, and every day you're having people watch that training. So in a given month, you could, instead of having 100 people on one class, you could have, instead of 10 people on one class, you could have 100 people all month watching your automated webinar that you produced one time. They're paying $100, and you do the math. That could create a lot of revenue for you. So I'm sharing this because as you're building your business model, you really need to know all the pieces of your offerings at various price points that will allow you to leverage your time. We don't want you to do one-on-one coaching anymore. Your time is too valuable. My time is too valuable. You need to do it in a way that you can work less and make more. And that's a big shift, from working a lot, making a little, to working less and making more. That's a great place to be. And that's what I want you to do. Okay, so the customer journey, and this is the next piece. You really need to understand how that customer is going to journey through your world. So first, they're going to take that automated class. The next thing that they're going to do is they're going to get in a group program with group support. And then the next thing that they're going to do is get into a more personalized, smaller group with an accountability piece to it. And then maybe work one-on-one, and then do a retreat or a high-end experience. But you really want to have that whole piece mapped out so you can build it one step at a time without being confused and without being distracted. So you just lay out that customer journey, you build that platform and all of those components one piece at a time. And then when you're done, you look back and you've got this well-oiled machine of offerings that your clients can learn from you and be transformed by your teaching. Okay, so now number 3. So the next really important piece of this process is for you to have a really great follow-up system. I'm going to share what a couple of options are that you could take advantage of. First, you need to have a funnel process, whether it's a website opt-in. So you may be doing your free masterclass and then you have people go to a certain page where they're opting in. Maybe they're subscribing to your list via a text. You give them a text number and they get on your list that way. Maybe it's something where they are in your messenger follow-up sequence. There's a great now new way to do messenger bots as part of one of your funnels. And so that could be an option. But whatever you do, you have to make sure you have something in place so you are following up and engaging with the people that are interacting with your free masterclass. And then you need to have a follow-up sequence. And so this is meant to engage people that don't act right away the very first time. So you want to create a sequence that is specifically focused on that initial engagement. And I'm going to actually show you a funnel in a moment, where whether they take action or not, it's going to send them down 2 different journeys. And it's really meant to keep communicating with them until they actually do something, whether it's they opt out or they buy. But statistics show that when you do a masterclass or a free webinar, there is a small percentage of people that will act on the very first play. So I think it's like 23% that act the first time that they see your masterclass. Now, of course, the conversion is going to completely depend on your deliverability skills as well as your offerings and your call to action. But what is a more impressive statistic is that, say if that initial engagement is 23%, say it's 10%, you will tend to have a double engagement in your follow-up sequence. And if that's the part that most people miss, and then you're leaving a ton of money on the table. So if you have a 10% conversion, you'll have a 20% conversion on your follow-up sequence. So that is huge. So that's like double of the profits that you won't even get if you don't have a specific follow-up sequence in place to capture those leads and convert them into a paid client. And then the next follow-up sequence you need to create is what Russell Brunson calls a daily Seinfeld sequence. And this is for all of the people that don't do anything. They opt into a bunch of lists, they opt into everything, and they don't necessarily engage, but you basically create a drip campaign where you're constantly giving them some sort of communication. And they equate it to Seinfeld because you really want it to be funny. If you read the book .com Secrets by Russell Brunson, he gives a really great example of how to engage people with humor and just different things that will keep them from opting out of your list. And then when the time is right for them, they may re-engage and hopefully become a client. So I told you I would share a simple funnel with you, and this is actually not a funnel that I created. I left the credits down below. It's for Click's Journey. I don't even know who that is or where I got this, but it is a really simple funnel. Actually, I think I got this from one of my coaches through Entreport, but It's basically a simple landing page that has a form that will send people to a immediate lead magnet download. So if they opt in, they get that immediate download, or that it sends them into a sequence to get them to buy. So you can see there's a nurture sequence for email 1, email 2. If they don't do anything, they just go on your newsletter list. But if they do something, then they go to a landing page to actually go to the order form to buy something, and then it removes all the tags and puts them into a different funnel. So it seems a little complicated, but you can make your funnel as crazy or as simple as you want, but you've got to have something in place to be able to convert your prospects down the road, because most people don't take action the very first time they engage with something. Okay, are you ready for tip number 4? All right, so I want to share with you some of the technical pieces of doing a webinar that is really important. And these are technicalities or technical setups that I found to work really, really well. So the first thing you want to do is you want to have some sort of software to record and deliver your webinar. Now, I'm not going to go into what's involved with creating an evergreen webinar or an automated webinar sequence. All I'm going to do in this training is help you create that initial masterclass. So I use Zoom. I love Zoom. I used to have the paid version, and you can get the paid version, but I actually do more things now with Zoom. So I actually have a low paid version. But what's great with Zoom, and it has so many features, and they constantly keep creating updates. So one of the things that I just found out recently is that now you can integrate Zoom with Facebook and YouTube Lives. So it's integrated right into there, and you don't have to have any other tool. You just basically go into Zoom and it goes to do your live, which is super cool. Hardware. So I use the Logitech C920S High Definition Pro camcorder, and I actually have a laptop that I do some of my classes, but I bought an additional camera to use with my laptop because the quality of this is much better than my laptop camera, and my PC monitor doesn't even actually have a camera. So I found this is a high quality camera at a very reasonable price. I just checked on Amazon at $66, so that is super reasonable, I think. And the one I actually have has a little cover, so I can do one of these things and close it when I'm not doing my camcorder or my recording, so people can't see what's going on in my office. Not that there's really anything to see back there but my fish swimming around, but sometimes, depending on where your computer is, you may have some things in the background you don't want people to see if they tap into your computer. The next thing is your microphone. The microphone on my computer is pretty good, but I instead use a Yeti, a Blue Yeti, which I really, really love. I can move this around wherever I want. I don't actually have it on a stand. I have it right here in front of me on my desk. Don't even see it. I suppose you could see. I'll show you. Here it is. How's that? Is that better? Well, now you just saw my dirty desk. Saw how messy it is. But the Blue Yeti is a really well recommended, very high quality microphone that is, I feel, a reasonable price at $139. Then you need to make sure your atmosphere is all in check. Now, some people may think that my background is too busy, and some people do just a plain white background, but I really like having atmosphere. It's a little busy, but this is my office. This is where I do all of my work, and of course, you can't see what's in front of me. If I were to, you kind of saw a little snapshot and you don't see kind of what's behind my desk, or the fact that I took everything on my desk and did a big swipe. But you don't want to have a lot of distractions. You have to realize that people may be seeing you for the first time. They may be judging you based on what you look like, what you wear, what your environment is. I've seen people do webinars from a crappy room and junk is all over. It just didn't give me a lot of confidence in who they were, how they showed up in the world, by how they showed up on the video. So I feel you want to be authentic, but you also don't want to be so authentic that people will think less of you. Now, I have on, let me go to the next. I don't want to get I'm getting distracted. So you don't want to have a lot of noise and distractions. It's tough for me sometimes during the day because even though I can shut my office door, if the UPS guy drops stuff off at my house, which happens almost every day, my team of dogs go insanely crazy. And even though my door is shut, you can hear it. If the phone rings, which I can't stop, which usually the only people that call me on my house phone, yes, I actually have a house phone. I've had it for so long, I just hate to give it up, and it's cheaper to keep it through Comcast. Anyways, I get a ton of sales calls all day and bot calls, and when the politics start ramping up again, and my phone will probably be ringing all day. And so if I don't remember to take my phone off the hook, I will have phone calls that come through. So you want to do your best to avoid distractions and extra noises, but sometimes things happen that you really can't help. Lighting. Lighting is critical, and I'm not going to turn my light off because I will look terrible. You want to actually have the light on your face so there's less shadows. You kind of want to glow a little bit. You just don't want to look dirty and dark and just blah. You want to have that light on you so you kind of pop and you kind of glow. And I don't have anything special but a little reading lamp that I actually have behind my monitor, and I turn it on when I do a webinar, and when I'm done with my webinar, I turn it off. So I've got this little system down without having to spend any money. There are, ring lights. So I'm going to post a ring light link in the show notes before, as well as I will for the Logitech and the Blue Yeti. I'll post that in there because some people love to use ring lights, and I found a really great resource for a ring light that is pretty reasonable and amazing quality. And then finally, this. So you want to make sure that you look natural. You don't want to be so made up that your face is insanely clown-like. But you want to keep in mind that the lights are going to wash out whatever you have. Now, I don't ever wear dark lipstick, so you'll never see me with crazy dark lipstick. And you try to get rid of the shine, and you try to have, I just have on a white t-shirt, and then I threw a nice jacket on, but I've got sweatpants on underneath, but you can't see it. So you just really want to take in perspective what a new person is going to see when they're looking at you the first time, keeping in mind that even though we say we don't judge people, it's just human nature, and people are going to look at you and make a decision about your area of expertise and your credibility in a really quick minute. So you want to make sure that you've got yourself in order as best you can, and you practice and you try to eliminate the ahs and ums. And we are not professional speakers, or the majority of us are not, and so it's going to happen. But the more you're aware of your speaking skill challenges, and the more you're aware of the things you need to work on and what you need to do, the better you will become. And I have been a Toastmasters for years. I haven't been in the last couple years, but I have learned so much from being in Toastmasters. So if there is one in your area, I would highly recommend you checking it out and getting engaged with them, because even though you're not speaking on a stage, you may be, but if you're not, you're still speaking in a stage here. This is a stage just as much as being in front of 1,000 people in person, because you may have 1,000 people watch your webinar, at various different times, which is just as much exposure. So this presentation is just as important as if you are going on a conference stage and speaking to 1,000 people at one time. So keep that in mind. I think a lot of times people don't recognize that point and they just don't prepare well enough. But that is something I really caution you against. I really encourage you to look at this as one of the most important speaking opportunities that you have, and you show up, you prepare, you practice, your slide deck is in order, and you follow all of my 7 steps. Okay, so this is just an example of, it's just a clip art, but you can see she's probably working from home or doing this class from an office somewhere, you don't know, but she is dressed professional. I mean, I don't recommend those earphones because there are ways to, like, I don't even know why she has earphones, because unless she's on, maybe she's on a conference call and she actually needs to hear, but regardless, she is showing up awesome, and that's what you need to do as well. Okay, tip number 5. Your class structure. This is really important. And I'm going to go through my 7 C's to create a really compelling masterclass. So this is basically how you outline your presentation. There's like a formula that you do it in a way that's going to take your audience through a certain journey. Now, keep in mind, I am actually not following this formula for this class, and I'm not doing it specifically because this class is designed to be very intentional in teaching a small group of people who already know me and already basically have a familiarity to why they're watching this class. And so it's kind of, look at this class as one component of many components. So if you really think about other classes that you've seen or other webinars that you've seen, this is the structure that most of them follow. And step number 1 is to create credibility. And it could be as simple as you saying your name and your title and like who you are. That's it. So you're basically kind of sharing who you are to create that connection and that credibility. This piece doesn't have to be super long, but you want people to know. Like, I've been on webinars or watch small little classes where the person doesn't even mention their name. So typically what I would do is I would just say, hey, I'm Christy Ruffino. I am the president and founder of the Dynamic Professional Women's Network and the creator of the Overcoming Mediocrity series of books. And I've been helping women unite, grow, and conquer for 16 years. So, just something like that helps position you without taking a whole bunch of time. Okay, step number 2, you're going to create curiosity. So what you're doing is you're highlighting the problem, you're giving them a snapshot of what the solution is, and you're really creating a desire for them to learn from you, to hear about your solution so you can provide that transformation. So again, this doesn't have to be a huge chunk of the time. Usually it's with a story that helps them identify that the problem that they have is real and that you're going to be able to provide a solution if they hang on through the whole masterclass. Okay, number 3 is you've got to create that connection. Now this is only, this is where you dive deeper into how you can specifically help that dream client. This is where you're going to really connect with them in a deeper level and really get them to understand that you have some great resources for them. The next one is a client story. This is where you're going to share a testimonial. And I don't know about you, but depending on the length of the webinar or masterclass you've been on, you may have multiple instances where somebody shares a specific client story or a testimonial, because what that's doing is creating that credibility multiple times throughout that class, and it's seeding the audience. It's providing like tips and insight for them to recognize that shift or that solution or that transformation you provided each one of those clients can be found by them as well. So you want to basically get deeper and be a little bit more specific about the problem and the solutions that you provide. Then you want to get into the concrete and valuable content. So this is where you're actually going to get into the steps. Now, when I talked a little bit before about your client stories, sometimes when people define their teaching points, they give a client story at every teaching point. And that's a great way to interweave these testimonials and really interweave your credibility throughout the whole class and get people to really recognize that you can help them. But you want to make sure that you dive into some of those success stories. And even if you don't have particular client success stories, you can share other success stories. And you don't want to take ownership and say you helped that person, but say Facebook. Okay, so let's say, I'm just going to throw in something out here without preparing. Say it's all about creating a bigger Facebook group. And you learned from a specific expert about how to scale a Facebook group in 30 days and have 5,000 followers or people in your group, whatever that may be. And you've done that in 30 days and you got the results, but you don't have client testimonials yet. But what you do know is your teacher got specific results. You got specific results. And so you can share other stories, maybe other people in that class that learned along with you and got similar results. You can share their stories, but you want to share stories. Stories are the connecting piece for people to learn. So that's kind of what you want to do. You want to add those stories, interweave them with your content, and make sure you're teaching as well as allowing the audience to resonate with your abilities and see that you can help them accomplish the same things. Okay. Number 6 is a call to action. So you need to recognize the journey you want that audience person, that client avatar, to go through. And once they're done with the masterclass, you need to identify what it is you want them to do. Now, I already mentioned there's no selling on our masterclasses, and most masterclasses aren't sales opportunities. It's like a free webinar to get people to know, like, and trust you. Who wants to be sold to right away without even knowing that person? Of course, nobody does. So this is that initial way to create that bond, to create that loyalty, create that connection, so they want more from you. So how can you have a call to action without selling? I'm actually going to go into how you can do that in a little bit. But let me go to step 7. And step 7 is where you close confidently and assuredly that you are going to help that person and that they have to make the decision to work with you. If you do a call to action in a very weak close and you're just not bold and you're not assured in your belief system and you don't portray that assuredness to them when you're communicating, they're going to probably not take action, because if you're not confident you can help them, they're not going to be confident that you can help them, and they'll probably just end without doing anything. Even if you offering something for free, they're still going to have to invest their time with you, and they may not want to do that. So be super confident in your close, so that way they will jump into your world and want you to help them. Okay. Step number 6, your delivery. And this is about being evergreen. And earlier I mentioned that I'm creating this training to be evergreen, which means it is timeless. So basically you want to make sure what you put together doesn't have any time restraints. It has to be seasonless. I'm not going to say it's snowing outside. I'm not going to say it's sunny outside. I'm not going to really mention anything about the seasons, because I don't want somebody to watch this at a certain period of time and think it's old. We want everybody to watch your training and think that you just did it yesterday. Now, of course, it's dark outside here, but that's okay because people won't think it's an old training. Your offer has to be countless, which means you can't make an offer that says, I've got 5 strategy calls or 5, free masterclass or 5 free training classes. There can't be a limit on how many offerings you provide. It has to be countless. And I don't even know if countless is a word, but it rhymed with timeless and seasonless, so I used it. It has to be multi-use. You've got to be able to use this for multiple things, whether it is a recording that's going to go on your blog if you decide you want to do that. Maybe it's going to go in your training library. Maybe it's going to go on YouTube. I don't know what you're going to do with it, but you want to make sure if you're doing an evergreen training that you can use it in multiple places. Now, what I've done and what I've seen people do is they'll do a training and then they'll end the training and then, they'll say goodbye and everything, but they'll say, well, but don't go away because I've got more for you. And then they'll come back and have a separate training attached to it or a separate video. And that's where they will make their offer. That way, whatever offer I have right now is great, but say 6 months from now, I've got a different business plan that I'm implementing and I want to create a different offer. So basically I just swap out that ending and then I can still keep using that training over and over and over again. And you want to make sure that if you're going to create a automated evergreen webinar system, that you do everything that I mentioned earlier, so then that training can be delivered over and over and over again in many times at it, many seasons and many uses. So it is something that will basically go on perpetually. Step number 7 is your call to action. This is, let me back up because this is important. This is what you need to do. You need to make sure that that person who is watching your training gets their tushy off the couch and does what you want them to do. And as I said before, you can do various things to encourage that interaction, even if it is free. So let me give you some examples of some of those free offers. You can share a guide or an assessment, a free assessment. How about a free online training, something that they just download? They opt in and it gets delivered directly to their email and you don't have to do anything. Of course, none of the things you do, you want to do manually, but you won't have to. If you do an online training that's delivered directly to their email, you don't have to have a fulfillment center for them to log in. Give them a free strategy call. That's not always the best scenario because if you're doing something evergreen, you don't have time to have hundreds of strategy calls. So you've got to put that into consideration. But if it's something you're delivering in a limited case, that may be something you offer. A checklist. You can give away a free checklist or a free program or diagram or quiz. How about a home study course? I see that a lot. 7-day boot camp, a 1-month subscription. Say you have a subscription base or a membership site, give them access for a month completely free. That's a great way for them to kind of get a taste of what your community is about. Maybe you can offer them a toolkit, or how about a blueprint? They're all just different terms. Some of them are different terms, some of them are completely different offerings. I'm going to put a link in below to a freebie webpage that has a bunch of different offerings, not all free. Actually, they are all free offerings that were part of a giveaway. I don't know how long that page is going to be active, so if the link is broken, I'm sorry, but I wanted to still provide that as, it's not something I did. I just found it and I thought, hey, this is a great resource for people to get ideas. I love ideas. So I found that in one of my swipe files, and I figured I would share that with you for you to get those same ideas. And then, so my invitation or my call to you is, my call to action for you is to join us as one of our mentor masterclass teachers. Now, I'm not going to give you the details of what that entails, because then this would not be an evergreen training. But what I will do is invite you to go to the application page on our website, and you will be able to find all of the details there. You will learn about what we do to help you put your class together. Now, you will create the class, but we will actually create your images. We will create your video when it's done. We will do some editing and, clean it out and add options for lots of different things. So depending on what you want and when you visit that application page, we plan to create a whole library of different resources to help you on this journey. But without going into all of those details, I will tell you to go to that page, which is ourdpwn.com/MC application, and you will see all of the details there. So right now, I honestly just want to take a moment to thank you for hanging with me. Thank you for being a loyal member of our community. If you are not a loyal member of our community, I encourage you to get engaged. Maybe being a masterclass teacher is not the right fit for you. Maybe you just want to join one of our mastermind groups, and they're really not mastermind. A mastermind is one component of them. They're kind of like success groups where women are getting together in various ways to basically multiply our synergy and multiply our results. So check that out. Check out all of our membership options. And we've got a really awesome Facebook group. We've got a lot of great things going on in our community. And as I said before, my ultimate vision is for us to create a kind of a self-sustaining support resource opportunity for women, small business owners, women entrepreneurs to kind of scale their business in a really defined way on a really compelling trajectory. It's really about collaborative velocity. It's about women uniting to create a big impact in their business. And, we can do great things. I can do great things. You can do great things. But when we unite with other like-minded, successful women, we can do things even greater and faster and with much more confidence and purpose and more amazing results. So I invite you to be a part of that and join us, and I will see you on the inside. That's all for now. This is Christy Rufino, and thank you very much. Have a great night. Bye-bye.